Hi guys, it's Reilly with another All English episode, and we're still on baby watch. So the baby's due date was supposed to be the 22nd. I'm recording this on the 25th, and the baby's not here yet. So, Yuki went into the hospital on 22nd just for like a regular scheduled appointment, and they said, okay, if the baby's not here in a week, then I guess they'll induce. But until then, induce means, like give her some medicine to make the baby come out, more or less. But until then, we're just kind of waiting around. And it's, I'm a little anxious. It's a little bit weird to just kind of be like sitting around, not doing too much. I'm not working. Initially I took the week before the due date off, and now I'm basically taking a second week off now, even though the baby's not here yet. But I'm not going to talk about that for the whole episode. Instead, I'll be talking about kind of what I've been doing in that time, in the almost 2 weeks now that I've had to kind of get ready for the baby. So I've been kind of reading not most of the time. I've been helping Yuki get ready for the baby. We've been doing some shopping. Yuki's mom is here, and my mom's actually here too. My mom's staying in a hotel. So we've been doing some stuff with them, running errands and going out to eat and whatever. But for the most part, just kind of hanging out. Like in my downtime when I don't have anything to do, I've been reading a lot. So I'm going to talk about the book that I've been reading. It's called Moby-Dick. It's pretty famous in the English-speaking world. I'm not sure how famous it is in Japan, but I'll talk a little bit about it. But first, my Instagram, Reilly Sullivan XD. Keep on the lookout. Maybe I'll post some baby pictures if Yuki's alright with it. And Sota is Eigo no Sota. So go ahead and follow us on Instagram if you haven't, if you want to. And let's get into it. Okay, so first I'll talk a little bit about how I got into the book. So Moby-Dick, again, was the title. So, I guess about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, I was talking to my friend and coworker who sits across from me at work, and I was talking to him about some books I had read recently, and he kind of would come to work and talk to me about, a YouTube video he watched, or something he listened to, on the news or something, and, I said, hey, you should read books, and so we kind of got the idea to do a book club, I guess you could say, but it's only the two of us, to basically read a book together, with the idea being we talk about the book, at different stages, and he chose the first book, which was this one, Moby-Dick. And it's something that I've wanted to read for a long time. It's like a real classic of American literature. One of my roommates in college, it was his favorite book for a while. I'm not sure it still is. But it's a classic. It was written in, I should have looked this up beforehand, but almost 200 years ago. I think it was written somewhere in the 1840s or maybe 1850s, somewhere in that area. Written by an American, Herman Melville. And it's about whales. And it has this reputation of being really long and really difficult. I'll say for the first bit, it's about 400, almost 450 pages long, which is a long book, but that's not a crazy long book. I think the next book we have on our plan for the reading club, book club, whatever, is almost 1,000 pages long. That book which is called Infinite Jest, which my friend read, I guess, in college, but I've never read. That is like a famously extremely long book. But Moby-Dick is longer than average, I guess you would say. But what makes it difficult is that it's pretty boring for a lot of the book. So you follow kind of the main character, or at least the narrator is Ishmael. The famous like first line of the book is "Call me Ishmael," right? That's very famous. And for the first, I don't know, almost 100 pages of the book, maybe, you kind of follow him before he gets on the boat that he will spend the most of the story on. And that part is interesting. It's like him walking around these towns in the northeastern United States, like Massachusetts. And yeah, he like goes to church, and there's this like fiery priest, I'll say, talking to everyone. And that's kind of like an interesting scene. He makes it seem like the priest is like the captain of a ship and all that. And he meets this like Pacific Islander guy named Queequeg, who's also going to go on a whaling boat. I should explain, I guess, what whaling is. So whaling was something that was more popular, about 200 years ago, when people would go out on ships, on boats, and basically hunt whales so that they could get their oil for making, like, for lamps. And also, I think their bones or their teeth, like some whales have, it's called baleen in English. It's like almost kind of like a brush kind of teeth, and that was used to like make women's corsets back then. But I think even by the time this book was written, corsets were maybe a little bit out of fashion, so they were mostly interested in the kind of the fat, the whale oil, they call it, especially from sperm whales. Anyway, so they get on a boat, and most of the book from that point, from after they get on the boat, is talking about whales and talking about boats and talking about the ocean. And it's done in like an almost like nonfiction way. It's like kind of like you're reading an encyclopedia about whales. And so after the first, whatever it was, 50 to 100 pages, it got quite boring. And it's taken me like a pretty long time to read it. I just finished the book like today, before recording this. And there's almost no plot, like no story for most of the book until you get near the end. They start hunting. You find out kind of early in the book that the captain of this ship, Captain Ahab, he's kind of a famous character in, I don't know, like American or whatever English-speaking culture, where he's like he has a peg leg, so one of his legs is like made of wood, or actually whalebone, and you find out that that's because his actual leg was bitten off by a whale, by a white whale named Moby-Dick. And so this whaling ship that they're on, the captain's not so secret goal, but his kind of like his extra goal, in addition to, killing some whales and getting some oil to sell when the ship gets back to the United States, he also wants to kill Moby-Dick, like kind of get revenge from this white whale that bit his leg off however many years ago. But they tell you about that in the beginning of the story, and there's like a scene where the Captain Ahab like nails a gold coin to the mast. The mast is like the big pole in the middle of the ship that has the sails on it. So he nails this coin to the mast and says, like, to the person who finds Moby-Dick, like who sees Moby-Dick first, you get this gold coin, which I guess at that time, like one gold coin made of gold was like actually a lot of money. I mean, I guess even now, if you had a pure gold coin, that would probably be worth a good amount of money. But anyway, he says this at the beginning. He says, like, let's find this whale. If you find it, you get a lot of money. And then they don't really talk about it for a long time in the rest of the story. They talk about different kinds of whales, and these whales act like this, and sometimes whales get together in groups, and when they do that, it means this, and blah blah blah. And then he talks about all the parts of the ship, like this part of the ship, this is where we kind of cook the whale fat so that it turns into oil, and blah 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 blah. And all these parts are really long, and they're mostly pretty boring. There's a couple of entertaining parts here and there, but for the most part, I'd say the middle is kind of hard to get through. And then you get to the end, and I won't spoil the ending, but the ending is the big fight with the whale. They find the whale, and they have a big kind of fight, I guess. Of course, like the way that whaling works is you have the big ship, the one, the sails, the sailing ship that, you might imagine it looks like a boat from, like the wars of Napoleon or the American Revolutionary War, or, like the British Navy, from like the 1800s or whatever. There's these big ships that, when they were at war, they had like cannons or whatever, lots of sails and lots of cannons. Maybe Pirates of the Caribbean is like a good reference point. The boats kind of looked like that. So this boat, it's called the Pequod is the name of the boat. It looks like a Pirates of the Caribbean boat, like what's it called? The Black Pearl, but it doesn't have cannons. Instead, what it has smaller boats on it that are like rowboats, that you have kind of like a big canoe or whatever, right? You have oars or paddles that you use to go hunt the whale. So you find the whale with the ship, the big sailboat, and then once you find a whale or several, you send people down in these small boats with what's called a harpoon, which is like a spear. It's like a long metal pole that's sharp on one end, right? And you throw that at the whale, or you throw many of them at the whale, and then the whale gets tired, and then you throw some more sharp things at it, and the whale dies, right? That's the idea. It's probably pretty gruesome, and there's lots of blood, and yeah, it's probably not a very nice experience. And yeah, so at the end of the book, yeah, they all get out in their boats and they go to fight this great white whale, Moby-Dick. And so, yeah, I won't spoil the ending. I won't say how it ends. But I will say, even though I went on and talked about how boring the book was in parts, I'm glad that I read it. I mean, it's an American classic. Some people say it's like the best American novel of all time. So I think it's probably worth reading for that reason. If any of you are interested in American literature, I think it's probably quite difficult to read in English, but I'm positive that there are Japanese translations of it. If you're interested in whales, I guess this might be a book that you could read. But if you're looking for something that's light and fun and, easy to read after work or before you go to bed to kind of like relax you or whatever, it might not be the book for you. I think that's about all I have to say. I think the next one, we're either going to read that Infinite Jest book, the very, very long one, or we might, I think, because that's that's my friend's suggestion as well. I'd like to make a suggestion. If I'm allowed to do that, then I'll suggest a different book. which maybe I'll talk about here on the podcast in the future. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled. Keep on the lookout for baby news. Hopefully that'll be coming soon. And I'll talk to you next time. At the very least, I hope that by the next podcast that you hear, I hope the baby will be born and I'll be able to talk about it with Sota. Thanks for listening. Bye.